In the beginning, there was nothing. Then there was Debut Buddies. And it was good.
And it was good.
I'm Nate. I'm one of the buddies.
I'm Kelly. I'm one of the creepy things that crawleth upon the earth.
The creepy.
And also a buddy.
I am Chelsea, the Omega buddy. Is like Alpha and Omega. Is that a thing?
Yeah, you can be both. That's a little New Testament, Chelsea, but I like it. I like where your head's at. This is a fortnightly podcast about firsts, and on this episode, we're going to talk about the first book of the Bible, Genesis.
The Christian Bible. The first book of the Christian Bible.
Well, and the Hebrew Bible. It's
and the Hebrew Bible.
Yeah. The book of Genesis, which I'm gonna put it right out here on Front Street. This kind of fucks. Like, this is fun
in like weird ways.
Yeah, in weird ways.
I mean, whole sections of it are only about fucking. Like, people are begetting all kinds of stuff. They be getting it.
They're drugging people. They're a lot more incest than I thought there was going to be, if I'm being totally honest.
Lot more incest.
That was good.
Yeah, I don't know. I my notes, I can't even form like a cohesive thought. My notes are like, okay, here's like a funny observation, and then slowly they descend into, wait, what?
Yeah.
What is happening?
Yeah. It's, I think, okay. Let's frame this a little bit. Let's frame this conversation by talking a little bit about how much experience with Genesis did each of us have prior to reading it for this podcast?
Okay.
Chelsea, do you want to start?
I will. So I brought out this. I don't know if you guys can see it.
Oh, damn.
I got my name on it.
A gold monogram.
Damn.
Bible. It does say it's to me from somebody whose name I do not know on the occasion of Christmas 2002.
Oh, wow.
So you were like old enough to remember who this is. 2002?
The person? Oh, no. I have deleted most people out of my brain from the last, unless I met you in the last 3 years, you're gone.
That's the point I was making, though. It's not like you got this as an infant and therefore you don't remember.
Oh.
Yeah, it wasn't a christening Bible. It's like...
I do have those. I have like a stack of Bibles that have my name etched on it, but this was the main one I had used when I was growing up.
That a King James? What version is that?
It is the King James version. And I also have, I have like 3 different translations, but this was the one that was on top. So I also attempted to not find this Bible first and foremost. And I downloaded the Bible app, and that has a lot of advertisements, and then tried to pretend like stuff didn't happen in it. So I had to get my Bible out to read it. I used to go to church a whole lot. I went because my family went, and then I went because I wanted to go separately. So I chose my own church separately for a good portion of my life. And then my friends went to church, and I went to church with them when I got older. And so I know the stories of the Bible. I've always been bad with names, though. So Genesis was tough. Both reading it when I was younger and today. So,
especially because some of the people in here change names
arbitrarily
or by God.
And God changes names, right? He's like Elohim. He's Yahweh. I was like, who? Oh man, are those do those have like big old different connotations? Like, do those have like big meaningful?
I mean, Yahweh is the
associated with them.
Yahweh is the specifically Hebrew name for God.
I don't know, man. I'm just saying he had a bunch of different names. I don't know the history. I was just I don't know what this means.
The vibe I get from this is this ties really nicely into Alvin Schwartz, because what this feels like is a whole bunch of people cobbling together their different weird religious stories.
Yeah.
And being like, here, this is a book about all the stuff that created the world that we see before us. And this is what these people talk about. And these people over here have this obsession with, like, a guy rising to power in Egypt, and then eventually, like,
Mhm.
you
Yep.
know, it's just, yeah, it's interesting because it is so many different tones and lineages, and there's not a lot of congruence. Like, even in the version I read, God's power set changes constantly. Like,
Yeah.
you have no idea what God can and can't do, knows and doesn't know. Like, God gets surprised. God is surprised and or has things hidden from him in ways that don't make any sense for someone who can see and do everything.
Yeah.
And then does
Yeah.
sometimes.
It felt like he was like creating his own reality TV show to watch because he got bored.
He was stirring shit up. He was trying to
Yeah.
like,
Talk to people
I
in
don't
their
know,
dreams.
man.
This is happening. Don't believe him.
He's lying to you.
Yeah, God is like, one of my notes is that God is just like a petulant piss baby, and he's pretty much just enacting the Jurassic Park scenario. Instead of the scientists, it's like God did and didn't think about whether he should. Like, that seems to be the whole premise of everything. It's like, oh, I
That's
can
why
make
he
this
kept having to
stuff.
start
Great.
over.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Let's see. I went to church sparingly when my grandparents visited when I was a kid because they were ardent Catholics. So we would go to Catholic Mass when they were in town. Same when we visited here up until a certain age. And then I was able to opt out. When I was a younger kid, my dear departed mother had taken me to a few different places. She was like, hey, I'm not going to force any sort of religion on you. Let's go to a bunch of different churches over the course of this summer. And you just try all these places. And if something speaks to you, you can go. And if nothing speaks to you, you don't have to. So I got a little bit of everything.
That's awesome.
And didn't really, nothing grabbed me. So I didn't go. And then it wasn't really until high school that I had friends who were kind of in the sing-song evangelical, like rock band evangelical church in Castle Rock. And they invited me to youth group events, which were always like, we're going to go play roller hockey in the parking lot for 3 hours. And then once you're tired, we're going to remind you that every thought you have about anything on this earth is Satan, and you're going to hell. And it's like, oh, good, I'm tired and susceptible to these ideas, so it's working.
That is like, I know that it's a joke. I know that it's a bit to be like, Christianity is just a cult. That is literally cult. Like, that is from the textbook cult manual. Like, break them down so that you can manipulate them.
Yeah, I went to one like weekend mountain retreat thing where it was a lot of activities during the day, and then it was everybody gathers in like an auditorium, like a lecture hall, and you sit there, and then somebody comes out and talks about like all these the shadows that you see moving in the night are Satan and all these things, right? And then kids are randomly like closing their eyes and swaying and holding their arms out. And then the person, I don't even know if you can call him a preacher or whatever, just starts saying like, you know, who wants to be saved? Right. And you're like, and then people are supposed to raise their hands. And then like, I remember specifically sitting there and raising my hand sort of out of obligation. Like, I didn't really want to be in a position where someone was going to go, why aren't you're not participating. And then I'm going to get like real ostracized. I was like, fine, I'll go through the being saved thing. Just let's get this over with.
Oh no.
It was very weird. It was very weird.
I went to a camp where they spoke tongues, and
oh god,
it was weird if you didn't. So weird stuff happened there.
Yeah.
I don't think my improv skills are good enough to speak tongues. Like I can't.
I have faith in you.
What I would do, and I know that this is what I would do because when I took like a phonetics class in college, it was a theater class. I don't really remember. It wasn't theater based. It was like fundamentally about language, or like the sounds. And in one of the classes, we were supposed to like quote unquote make up a language, and it was supposed to sound convincing, like to the human ear. The human ear was just supposed to be like, yep, that's a language. And I was like, no can do. And so I just I plagiarized the Wheel of Time. I just took phrases from the old tongue and the Wheel of Time, said them in class as though they were my own. So that's what I would be doing in the church.
You would probably sound more convincing.
Be like, cry on Caldazar, cry on Alessande. Be like, oh,
It's
she's
perfect. Sounds perfect.
crushing it.
Yeah, yeah. I'd be like, wow,
that is
I've
God speaking
never
through
heard
you.
tongues. I've
You
never
might be a
heard tongues so
prophet,
sharp.
Kelly.
Oh God. Whoa, man. What if they elevated me to prophet? I'd be so stressed out. Yeah, I don't know. I grew up going to church, Southern Baptist, and I don't know. We went like every Sunday, whole shebang, like Sunday school plus service. And when I say we, I mean me and my siblings, because we were not a religious household, but my parents treated church like a babysitter. So they put us on the bus that picked up kids, and we would go to church and just be at church all day. And we'd also go to like church camps and Bible study. And then one of the weird things, and why I still like remember specific phrases from the Bible. So I grew up in a poor neighborhood, and this was a poor church. And every Christmas, they would do like a Christmas market where people, it was essentially a rummage sale, really. Like people cleaned out their garages or whatever, donated it to the church, and then the kids could buy gifts for their family. But it wasn't money. Instead, what happened is you had like a series of Bible verses to memorize, and then they would quiz you Sunday school, and you would get like fake Monopoly money if you got your stuff memorized, right? And then you could use.
So wait. What you're saying is there was money changing going on in the church.
Yeah.
They were exchanging knowledge for cash.
Knowledge for cash. Yep.
I was gonna say that's similar to what the church that I chose when I was younger. Whenever I say I chose it, I mean I didn't like have it was like across the street from where I lived. But they had a store. Like it was called The Store, and we had to memorize once. I remember the 10 Commandments being super beefy in the amount of money you got. So I memorized the 10 Commandments, and I could recite them word for word for a while there. But now I can just recite the Shepherd's Song.
I don't even know what that one is anymore. And then in college, I went to like a Methodist affiliated church. It wasn't Methodist. I didn't have to do any like Bible-y stuff in school, but I was in the choir, and every year for Christmas, we would do a candlelight carol service, which is a combination of passages from the Bible and not hymns, but like songs that tell the story of Jesus. And I remember some of those passages too. Specifically, there was one, an angel comes to somebody, for he is born, whatever, etc. And the opening line, or not the opening line, but one of the lines in it is, and he was terrified. And there was a woman who read it one year who said it like that, like a Southern belle, all breathy and like excited. And he was terrified. And I still think about that to this day. When my cat gets scared, I'm like, and he was terrified. Like I love it.
Most of my like Bible experience is academic. Like the most reading of the Bible I've done has been for school, appreciating it as literature. And that's what I'm going to say. For any listener who might be skeptical about the tone of this, we're going to make a lot of jokes. We're going to make fun of some of this shit, but it's because it's also like literature. I'm looking at it as an artifact of human interaction. And and also like it's a cathartic human coping mechanism to the great question of who am I, how did I get here, and what am I doing? This book especially is not so much, it's not vague like philosophical questions about certain things. It's like these are the rules to live by to an extent, and these are how things had to happen because we don't understand otherwise, you know?
Yeah, this is very much like a well, I guess it's literally a creation myth, but it's like it reads like a history book. It's not like it's not philosophical. So, it's like, here are the things that happened. You can draw a lineage tree.
Well, I could think even in that, because whenever I was reading it, I feel like I had a hard time getting out of the like Bible study reading where you would like sit in it and try to find meaning. So like that's what you do. You get a passage from the Bible and you reread it until you find some sort of meaning that applies to your life. And that's what you would do in Bible study. So right when I sat down to read it, I started doing that. I was like, no, this is not me anymore.
We don't have to do that.
But that started happening right when I started reading it. And I was like, ugh.
Wow, that's fascinating.
Well, and not for nothing, that to me feels like a cult, right? To
Yeah.
be like,
And it's
this
not,
text
like,
is the kind where you're supposed to put yourself in it somehow. And it's like, no, read it for what it is. Because it's really telling you exactly, like, this is a soap opera. This is an awesome, spectacular Marvel movie of nonsense that is just, like, coping with, like, we don't know where the Earth came from. Where did the Earth come from? Well, it could have been this. It's no different than those guys calling the megalosaur bone a scrotum, because it looks like that. And that's all the science we've got.
But when you grow up in the church, you're given so much to justify every part of the Bible and how real it is, and there are like different churches that interpret it differently, but there is so much of my life that, like, my brother's always been not religious, and I would get into arguments with him, and now I just like want to go yell at myself for the arguments I said back. And I was like, no, this is what this means. And I'm just like, and rereading it, I was like, oh my God, why did I say those things?
Well, I apologize for any trauma that I inflicted on you by choosing this also. Yeah, like, no, seriously.
No, I need to reevaluate that part of my life, because it was good, because I forgot that I had ever felt that way. And it was still a good time in my life. I had friends. It was like a community, but whew.
For that muscle to still be so reflexive.
It's so weird.
That's bonkers. Because you've been out of it for what, 15 years at this point? Yeah. Crazy that, like, just picking it up. Yeah. Like, damn, neural pathways, dude.
Yeah,
damn.
It's like if you were in a musical and you knew dance steps to a song, when you hear that song, you probably think about doing the dance, even though it's like, I'm not on stage anymore.
I knew jazzercise to some songs, and I still do them today whenever they come on.
Here you go.
Yeah. If comes on, Usher's I do that every time.
Usher, if you're listening to the podcast, we'd love to have you on.
Yeah, both over here and on
jazzercise.
Never Show the Monster. We just did The Faculty. You were great in it.
Just what struck me is that this is so broad stroke and so big and it's so fantastical. Like, it really, I can understand how, if you're going to open a book that is going to be kind of about prescriptive behavior control, which is ultimately what the Bible does. It's like, hey, these are the rules of society. These are the people who are in charge because they're connected to God. I mean, it basically establishes patriarchy and early government and kinds of controls. You open that book with, there was nothing. Boom! There's everything.
And there's something.
And then this person does these amazing things, like create all of life in existence as you know it. And then they just decide one day to make humans. They make man. And then we're going to revise. This is the other thing I think is interesting, is God creates man. Then we go back and God creates man again in more detail to then create woman. Like,
but then we get rid of all of them, start over.
Yeah. There's there's kind of a Stephen King thing happening where it's like somebody wrote Genesis and they were like, okay, good idea. I don't like my first draft. I'm going to leave it in the book, but I'm going to write this again. Okay, cool. I don't like my second draft. Still going to leave it in the book. Let's go with the third go.
Hey, I have a question. Thinking about Stephen King, how does the Bible end? Revelation isn't the last book, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is? Oh, okay. Cool. Metal then.
Yeah.
Well, how does it end before the projection out into the future?
Oh, that I don't know.
Does anybody know? Yeah, I guess this is a podcast about firsts. I
don't know what precedes Revelation.
Ends.
Yeah.
Let me look.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just going to check out this Bible I got here.
I wonder if it's just like one of the, like...
It's not.
Is it just Jesus rising again? And then like, hey, I'll be back. And then he's back.
Oh, yeah, maybe. Here's the thing that stood out to me the most about Genesis is every story I know from the Bible is in Genesis.
Oh, wow.
And they happen so fast. Like, Noah happens so fast. Did we ever revisit that? Or is this all of the Noah? This is it. And it is one of the bops. It's one of the bangers. What the fuck goes on in the rest of the Bible?
Well, you got Revelations.
Well,
That's
yeah, but
New
apart
Testament.
from that.
You got your Psalms, which are just little fun words of wisdom.
Fun stuff.
You got your
they're words of wisdom. Okay.
Exodus has like the long story that goes after with the Pharaoh. And...
Exodus is the sequel, direct sequel to the end of Genesis, which sets up Exodus happening.
We got Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus. So Leviticus is
goes.
telling you about all of the things you can and can't do.
Yeah, those are the crazy rules, like no mixed fibers, can't eat goats on Tuesday. What is it?
Thursday.
I don't know. Crazy rules.
I don't know.
It's also the thing that, like, if someone touches your wife, you have to murder her.
You have to murder her?
Yeah. There's a lot. No, seriously, that's the shit in there.
No, I believe you.
Yeah.
Just like, what the fuck? So, did Abraham have to murder that Pharaoh who took his wife?
Well, that rule didn't exist yet.
Yeah,
I don't think.
Leviticus hasn't happened.
Leviticus didn't happen, so they didn't have that rule. The rule wasn't on the books.
I didn't realize it was chronological. I'm sorry.
When you get to the New Testament, it's a bunch of people telling the same story over and over again.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so boring.
So we start with creation of the earth. We abruptly time jump to from Eden to just a list of genealogy.
Yeah.
That gives us a person begetting person begetting person begetting person and getting to Noah.
What are we just gonna skip over the serpent and the apple and the first red pill that existed?
Oh yeah, we can. No, yeah, we can talk about that. We didn't. I skipped Cain and Abel too, which is a whole thing.
Yeah, Cain and Abel is a whole thing. I'm sorry. I'm gonna get to. I read the first part really hard, and then by the end of it, I was like, I don't know if I can keep.
I lost my stamina real quick.
Yeah, no, it's so part of what I was alluding to earlier is my understanding of God, at least the Judeo-Christian God, is that he is omnipotent, he is omniscient, and he is omnipresent, meaning he is everywhere, he knows everything, and he can do anything he wants. God, in the beginning of Genesis, is capable of creating all of time and space, is capable of creating every animal that exists, creates humans, and then somehow is on a break when Satan manifests as a snake, when people eat forbidden apples, and when brothers murder each other. He pops onto the scene and he's like, what did you guys do? Wait, where's your brother at?
I loved his response to that because it was very sassy. I don't know, in the King James Version it was. But he was like, what am I, my brother's keeper?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And I was like, you should know. Same whenever he approached Adam, and Adam was like, I'm naked. And he was like, oh, what? Who? How did you eat the apple? When did you eat the apple? And then he blamed Eve. He was like, it's all fucking Eve's fault. But
he didn't even try to do solidarity.
Did he ever tell Eve? Because God made Adam, and then he was like, don't fucking eat from this tree. And then Eve was made after.
Yeah, no, it feels like a very clear establishment of the problem that all men have, which is they do not communicate things to their partners effectively in most circumstances. You were supposed to know.
How can I? I haven't eaten from the tree of knowledge yet. Oh, yeah. What a doofus.
It's such a fairy tale. And then it just feels so dramatic. God feels very dramatic because it's like, okay, my favorite philosophical argument for because many people who are religious philosophers will talk about, the reason evil exists in the world is because humans have free will. God gave us free will.
Okay.
One of my favorite arguments against that is the idea that, well, why wouldn't God, being all good, being omnibenevolent as well, create humans who perceive themselves to have free will, but didn't ever choose the wrong thing?
Yeah. I mean, that's a great question. And also, if that comes from free will, then is this little trickster devil snake boy, is he human free will manifested? Or who's he?
Right.
He happened before the creation. Oh no, am I going back in my...
Well, no, maybe. I don't know.
He happened before the creation, because Satan is a fallen angel. But then if you want to interpret the Bible in a different way, the lack of God's presence in your life is hell and not really where Satan resides. So it gets messy. But
Satan isn't even like a big bad in the Bible. That's like, that didn't start
he's only
happening until
mentioned
the
like once,
70s.
but he's not mentioned often.
If the serpent is the antagonist, then what was the actual alternative reality in Eden from the text? I know, because I know interpretively, like, yeah, I would say like, oh, well, we would have just lived this perfect happy life where you were fed and you didn't know anything about anything, and we operated in this sort of state of perfect childlike wonder, I guess.
I guess.
Where you would know only the corporeal pleasures necessary to continue. But it also seems to be predicated entirely on the idea that like absolute subservience is the only way to be in paradise. But paradise isn't actually something you can access fully, because the lack of want is itself the lack of pleasure. Like if you're not chasing something, then it, you're just like, I don't know. It's interesting because there's no real human comparison. Like there's no point in any of our lives where we would be so absolutely sated in every single way, emotionally or physically or whatever, where you would go, this is heavenly bliss, right? It's like,
well, not
we can
anymore,
only
thanks to Eve and her snackies.
We can only compare it to the lack of same, right? And that ability to compare it is sort of what makes things more joyful.
So is it like whenever, and I'm just comparing this to in the 90s, whenever they made a bunch of movies because nothing was going wrong in the world and they were all trying to make stuff go wrong, or trying to assign meaning and more complex things to, like, there's got to be more suffering in order to have any pleasure because it's two sides of the coin.
Yeah, you can't appreciate it if you don't know the alternative.
Yeah.
You just, if it's the only thing you've ever known, you can't like observe it, right?
Yeah, because the only reason I'm bringing up like 90s movies because there was like a big push for conflict when conflict was not there, and trying to figure out how to create movies with dynamics like Fight Club and even like Office Space. I think we're like, how do we make like people are just not, there's not stuff to complain about, so we're gonna make people really angry.
Yeah. Well, and another thing that was really big in 90s cinema that is big here is misogyny, because there is this
that's true.
forceful attempt to say everything that's wrong in the world, women did it. Let's just be clear about that. We're gonna say like the first woman is the cause of all of our problems. She begat the first murderer. It was her kid. So that's bad news. I mean, the apple doesn't fall far from the Eve, does it?
Wait, okay. What was Adam's punishment? That he can't live forever? And Eve's punishment was that she just feels the most amount of pain that anybody can possibly feel.
Yeah.
They
would go forth and multiply. He would have to
toil. He can't get anything for free.
Yeah, he would have to work all his
sweat
life.
Of his brow. Yeah,
and he would know shame and his nudity and all these things. And Eve also knows shame, but Eve gets punished by having a menstrual cycle and painful childbirth.
What would it have been like if she didn't?
Yeah, would the baby just like fall out?
Yeah,
she's just like walking around, doesn't know what's gonna happen.
And would you have to hold it for 9 months, or would it just be like bam, bam?
Oh, that'd be nice.
Oh, that'd be like discomfort and growing it, and then it just pops out. Maybe we would have been able to lay eggs.
Maybe it would have been the rib thing.
Yeah,
forever.
I think you legit just pull a McRib out and you got a baby. Done.
God damn it.
So that would have solved all of our problems now. I think we're having a labor shortage because people don't want to have babies.
One labor shortage deserves another.
Begats another.
So God is just always behind the 8 ball despite being in charge of everything. And then he basically just declares like, you guys are all evil forever. I made a totally ruined thing. It's terrible.
Okay, I've got a question about this one. Yeah. Because we were I don't know that I read the text correctly, but it seemed like humans were fucking the Nephilim And God
Yeah.
was like, whoa, 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 whoa. And that's what led to the flood.
Oh, I don't know if that was a part of it.
Interesting. I don't think the version I read had
It's
human
one
on
line
Nephilim
that
action, but
yeah.
maybe, yeah, I might have skipped
It
that
was
line.
just one line, but
Yeah.
it was like, and the sins between human and Nephilim. Actually, I think in this one too, it was like women and Nephilim. And I was like, rude.
You know that wasn't
You made
it.
Adam short and the giants are foxy. That's on you.
Yeah. Literally, tall, dark, and handsome descends from the sky.
Like, come on.
It's just very interesting because here is a place where God declares all humans are bad. I've made a terrible mistake. This is ruin. I felt like, and I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but it's like, it's a burn on Noah because he's like, Noah, you and your family are great, but all humans suck, and I'm never allowing this again.
Yeah.
So, and he says, and he reiterates it after the ark is built and after they're like
Mhm.
floating around. He's like, humans are ruined, bro.
Yeah.
I guess he wasn't wrong. For real though.
I mean, no, I agree with him on this one. How many humans were on the ark? And also, did y'all know that it was 7 pairs of the clean animals?
Okay,
and
did
only
that say okay. Some of them were used for sacrifice whenever they got out.
Oh, I missed that.
Um,
But I guess that makes sense.
But it was 3 Noah, his wife, and his 3 sons and their wife. The wives of the 3 sons.
You know, I was talking to a like a genetics guy recently, and he was saying that in order to have, there was a study done recently to determine the minimum number of humans in order to have like a viable genetic pool.
Oh.
And it's lower than you'd think. Would you like to take a stab at what this number might be?
14.
Or oh.
Hmm. It's not quite that low. It's 50. So like, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know what was going on the other side for Noah.
Well, for all of us, because we all come from that.
Well, yeah.
Wasn't there like a TV show about the Ark or movie? Was it like a made for TV movie? It had a
Must have
basketball
been.
court on the inside.
Sick.
No one? Okay.
I love that. I
wonder
want
if it was a
that.
Disney Channel original movie. There was
I thought Disney Channel original movie for this because, at least in the version I read, the ark includes every kind of food that is eaten. That was the quote. Every kind of food that is
kind.
eaten.
I guess maybe we hadn't evolved many foods yet. It was just like corn and
Maybe,
wheat.
but I mean, it's still like, we're talking about a pretty vibrant region of cuisines. So if you're bringing all of that shit together, that's still a lot
Man.
of food.
Wait, so does that mean that we had the 7 pairs of cattle for like procreation and then also an additional herd to eat?
Quite possibly. Right? They're food.
I don't know the rules. I'm going to need like a manifest for the ark. I'm
Yeah.
curious.
Isn't there? I think there's a place in Tennessee where you can get that. You go check
Oh
out the
God, I
ark and
bet,
then get
yeah.
the manifest.
I'm sure that there are a couple places in the South where you can get that.
the movie's called Disney's Noah, starring Tony Danza.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah, and I remember there being a basketball court in it. Sorry,
Hell
That's
yeah.
amazing.
I didn't have a
Um,
list of food because I always liked. This is probably the prepper in
Oh
me,
my
but I
God.
liked seeing. That's probably what spawned it. Was this just preparing for a flood? But I remember seeing like shelves of stuff and being like, "Oh, that makes me calm."
You just like a sense of abundance and security.
Oh shit, you're right.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. That's a great thing. I remember peak pandemic, we had canned goods stacked on top of our kitchen cabinets to the ceiling all across our
Mm.
kitchen, and like small galley kitchen in the 1-bedroom condo we were in. But just looking at that and be like, yep, we're definitely
Feels
going to be
good.
able to. We could survive on beans for a while if we had to. And you're
That's
like,
good.
okay, this
That's
is gonna
nice.
be fine. Sure, yeah. If they shut everything down, we won't
got
die
beans.
for like
We've got
2 months.
beans.
Yeah, you got beans.
So wait, which version are you reading, Nate?
Oh yeah,
We
good
went
question.
King James. Are you doing like a Catholic thing?
I am reading, I think so. This is the book of Genesis from Vatican.va. So yes,
Yep.
it is a Catholic version of the thing.
And
Yeah.
you didn't get any Nephilim fucking.
I
Yep.
didn't clock that, but like as you both said, you get a little fatigued after a while. So I started
Yeah.
like jumping to parts where I just wanted to like, I want to read about this part. I want to make sure I remember that part's in there. And I had the same experience that you kind of expressed, Kelly, that this is really quick. Like everything happens in like 8 lines,
so
and like boom, boom,
fast.
boom, flood happened, boom, boom, boom.
Yeah. I
How
was
many-
like, is this maybe like a table of contents? And I need to like get into the actual story.
Did Cliff note the Bible?
It feels like it.
Also, I gotta jump back to Tony Danza being Noah on the Ark.
Mhm.
Couldn't we call that movie "Who's the Boss"?
Ah.
Because it's like you're the captain of the Ark, but God's actually in charge. So
Maybe that was the
who's boss?
subtitle
Right?
or the tagline. Sorry.
Tagline, yeah.
So yeah, all the traditional Ark stuff that we all love, cubits, etc. Animals, the releasing of the dove, the floodwaters receding. They get to set
Wait.
up their business.
I don't remember the dove. Did I
Yeah,
miss
he
the
re-
dove?
He releases a dove and it comes
Oh,
back.
oh, yes.
And then he's waiting for it to come back with something, and then it never comes back, and he's like, okay, it's chill.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
so they
you're
can't
right.
look outside or see anything. That was weird to me. I was like, oh, you can't do anything
Well-
outside? You can't see, you don't have a deck?
Well,
Looks
it's
like
I thought that
because
was like
the,
a faith-related thing that he wasn't supposed to look. That he was like
Oh.
sending the dove, and if the dove didn't
Oh.
come back, it meant that like there was habitable land again. So
Yeah, that's
Oh.
that was
Not some logic I would take.
This is
for that.
basically a prequel to the movie Bird Box with Sandra Bullock.
Also, did we have glass yet? No windows in the Ark.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a flood hazard. Though every illustration of the Ark I've ever seen, windows.
Yeah.
There's always like a cute little cabin on the middle of the deck that has windows
Huh.
in
Well, goddamn.
it.
I don't want to criticize the Bible for historical inaccuracies. In the beginning, God also said that the moon was a source of light, and I was like, this guy doesn't know shit about shit.
Yeah. They get to the point where they're like, cool, the flood's over. And then this is when God burns Noah and his family and is like, hey, look, humans were the worst thing I ever did. There's
Yeah.
evil in your hearts. It's never going to work out well. He also steps away and is like, but I'm not going to make any changes to this. I'm just going to go ahead and let this thing go again. Because clearly, I don't know. He seems, yeah, he seems like a very irresponsible individual. If his whole problem is that
That's
humans
fair.
started doing bad things, then he's like, I'll just release this group again. Whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe if we drastically reduce the gene pool, it'll get better.
Right. And then at least in the version I read, God basically declared Noah and his family to be apex predators. He's like, hey, look, you guys go out, you eat whatever
Yeah.
you want, but don't eat anything bloody. If you eat bloody stuff, that's bad.
Oh.
Oh, that was a way to tell people to cook stuff?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh.
That's just one of those little kernels
Okay.
of knowledge that I think connect with the audience, right? The audience might be like losing attention because they're like, oh, the flood's over, cool. And then they're like, hey, and hot tip, cook your food.
It's like,
And
oh,
people are like, oh yeah, my uncle
Smart.
died of not cooking his food.
Oh, that's good. That's a good note. I'm gonna write that down.
what are the, like, are there a lot of pro tips in this that I just didn't catch? Because I didn't catch that one the first time.
I also didn't.
Yeah, throw pro tips at me. Biblical pro tips.
Yeah, what can we learn?
I think that's the first thing that you're supposed to actually learn, because up to this
Okay.
point, it's just sort of like, hey, the reason why people don't
Wait,
like each
no.
other is because of
Don't
these
trust women.
Oh yeah,
Don't trust
that's
women.
definitely
Mhm.
a
Yeah.
pro tip. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Can't be done.
Still to this day.
Mhm, mhm.
So I'm gonna jump ahead to. So now Noah and his family are hanging out. They're having a relatively nice life. They seem to be begetting and begatting, and
Yeah, all
and
over
then
the place.
a day comes when Noah gets real drunk and passes out naked, and then
Oh, yeah.
his son Ham walks in on him and sees Noah's naked body by accident, and Ham turns around and is like, "Hey brothers, Dad's naked in there. We got to cover him up." And so the brothers
Oh.
close their eyes and walk in and cover him up. God comes down and is like, Ham, because you saw your dad naked, everybody that you are connected to will be cursed to be a slave.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All of your descendants will be slaves.
So is this... So I have a question. I have a question on this Bible.
Is your question, what the fuck?
Kind of. Is this just written as like an old man with complaints and being like, I didn't like it when they did this. This is what I have. Because there's another one. I don't think it's in Genesis, and correct me if I'm wrong. If it is, it might be in the last 10 chapters and I missed it. But the guy who's bald, and then he gets made fun of for being bald, and then God goes and kills the children because they made fun of him.
That's 2 Kings.
Okay. So you know other parts of the Bible.
Hey.
I don't. I did a tweet yesterday that was like, what the fuck is Genesis? And our friend Kylan responded and was like, you got to at least get to 2 Kings. Listen to this story. And I was like, no, that's all I need.
I think it is just like a bunch of, just like an old guy writing. And he's like, how can I tell people to not do this and say that God told them not to do it?
Yeah.
Because I'm bald. I don't like people making fun of me. I'm naked sometimes. I don't like people seeing me
Stop
naked.
creeping in.
I feel like this Ham seeing Noah naked story is twofold prescriptive. One, it is no gay stuff.
No gay stuff.
Men should not see other men naked.
Yeah. Because we know it's not a no incest stuff. That's fine.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just because
no.
we're going to bang some daughters later.
It's just no wiener v wiener.
Right. So you got that. You also have folded in there a little bit of a you must respect your father at all costs, which means that if you see your father in an embarrassing state, you are sinning against him, and therefore you are going to get screwed.
Do you think it was
Sucks.
just that he saw his father, or that he narked on his naked father to the brothers?
Well, he was trying to help them.
I think it's that he saw him because the brothers went in with their eyes closed and
With their
covered
eyes
him, and they didn't get in
closed.
trouble. It was that he went in and saw, which is totally not his fault. Like, you have no
I
way
mean,
of knowing.
There's a lot of things coming up where it's not their fault, but
Right,
God does
yeah.
not care about
Yeah.
tertiary characters, because
No.
there are main characters and then there are tertiary characters. I'm definitely
Honestly,
a
I feel like
tertiary.
he's up there like writing down like punishments he wants to dole out and then just observing, and he's like, saw his dad's wiener, that's good enough. Let's do it. Let's
That'll
roll.
work. Well, because I think that's the other thing. This story also explains God gave people slaves. Basically, it basically says there is a class of people who deserve to be under everybody else.
Yeah.
They are descended from this kid who saw his dad naked. So if you have somebody who is in your possession as a human being, it's just they're descendant of Ham. It has nothing to do with you having a moral crisis or being a shitty person.
Right.
It's just it's Ham's people. That's just how that happens.
Yeah. Yeah. Man,
I know.
they got right into it, huh?
Well,
I
that's
don't like it.
see, that's the thing that I think is
don't
interesting
either.
literarily, is it's like this is about explaining the world the people were living in at the time that this was consumed popularly. So
Right.
if you're being told these stories, because you're not reading them at this time, nobody can read, but you're being told these stories and they're there to remind you that the status quo is correct. The reason why things are the way they are is because God said it this way on purpose, including the reason why you move boulders for me all day and I give you a cup of pudding or whatever every week, and that's all you live on. It's because you're a descendant of Ham.
Oh.
Sorry, hands are tied. God said so.
Right. I mean, doesn't that narrative perpetuate today in much of conservative media? Like, people will say something like, well, God said this. Their argument is not, these people inherently do not deserve rights because I feel that way. They say, no, God says in this section of the thing that they're not supposed to have rights.
Well, I do think that part where you're like citing your sources might be like a little bit of a facade for covering up the first thing. But I also think that this happens like not just with religion. I'm thinking about like capitalism. I'm thinking about my CEO. And how it's always stuff like this, like, oh, my hands are tied. The parent company says, the parent company says, okay.
Yeah. I mean, we're gonna get to that very thing in just a second, because I want to talk about capitalism v communism as we approach. But first,
As we approach Jesus.
We
The
have
first
Yeah.
communist.
well,
Mhm.
we have
Comrade.
communism in Genesis. We have communism in Genesis before. After the Ham incident, we get another genealogical burst where it's just a bunch of
Yeah.
begetting, all these things, and then we jump to Babel.
What the fuck
Oh,
happened with
Okay,
Babel?
gotcha.
Where
I'm there.
this time I read Babel and I was like, okay. So the premise of Babel is that everybody can speak the same language, and they decided to work together to build something that was functionally
Uh-huh.
good for humanity. Communism. They created a collaborative society, and God said, "Nah,
Not on
you're
my
not doing
watch.
that."
Mm-mm.
He doesn't have a rationale for why. He just decides, well, humans are evil, and they are working together. And so I'm just going to give everybody different languages, and then I'm going to make them argue, and then I'm going to cast them all over the world so that they can't get along. Which, again, clearly an explanation for this is why we have different countries with different languages and we can't all communicate with each other. But God is a super fucking like strike breaker asshole who just walks in and is
Right.
like, hey, cool. You guys, you humans who I declared unsalvageably evil have decided
Have
to
become
collaborate
good.
lovingly to build an amazing thing.
That's why, as the producer of a reality show, he's like, there's no drama here.
Yeah.
There's absolutely no drama. Communication, they have got that down cold. I got to take it away. I got to take
Yeah.
it away. And once they start misunderstanding each other, they're going to fight more. And
Yep.
that's going to be golden TV.
You're right. You're right. He's like, what am I going to put in the rest of my book if we don't have squabbles? I need
Yeah.
squabbles.
Would that be the end of the Bible there if he was just like, yeah, that's pretty cool?
Well,
Yeah.
but this is my question though: is why is it here? Because
That's
you
a
don't
good question.
you
Well,
don't
it's-
need God to set up that everybody can't get along.
If somebody were to come around and be like, hey, why do people speak different languages? Hey, Dad, why do people speak different languages? I don't like you asking me questions. I'm going to go back to writing this book.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah.
I guess I'm curious though, like, I think that we can agree that the Bible is meant to be propaganda for God. Like, if we're
Yeah.
believing in like the mythology, it's propaganda for God.
Propaganda.
I read that story. I'm not like,
Good propaganda.
this dude rules, right? Like, I'm like, why is he trying to make my life harder? Why he do that? Why he do that? Works in mysterious ways.
Yes. Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's such a dick move because what it does, I mean, I think the premise here is that, humans working together, creating something close to Eden collaboratively is an affront to God.
Oh.
But what that also says, and what's concerning to me, is that anyone, and I say this as kindly as I can say, anyone who believes that this is actually real stuff that should inform your life will never allow humanity to ascend to a point of heaven on earth. They will always be dead set on enforcing conflict because it's more godly to be a dick than it is to just let people take care of each other.
I was about to ask, what non-dick moves did he do? What are the non-dick moves? Is it just being like, hey, Noah, build this. I want only you to survive, which I would see as a dick move.
Yeah, I don't like that. That's a curse. You've cursed me.
Yeah. What are the non-dick moves? Because he just, exactly to your point. He just curses people.
No, there's no non-dick moves. What he is just a entitled white male type character.
Yeah. I know that like we societally call him a vengeful God, but I thought that he like chilled out between Old and New Testament. I thought he like grew
Jesus
up a little.
Is the New Testament.
Yeah, he just drops back. He just like
Jesus.
So I know that okay. We've talked about this on Never Show the Monster before, and I still don't understand. So God and Jesus, same person, but is that what you're saying?
It's a Holy Trinity.
Yeah, but what's the Holy Ghost?
I don't
know. Who
dat? That's a great question.
I think my understanding of the Trinity is, you have God. Jesus is basically like God threw down God energy in the form of a perfect boy to walk the earth. And then the Holy Ghost is the essential fabric of faith among humans that we either embrace or not. The Holy Ghost is the force from Star Wars. It is
Yep.
the thing
Okay.
that connects
about right.
everybody together and to God all the time. Doesn't let you do any
Praise
cool
be.
things, though.
I've got a whole complaint with that because of midichlorians, but let's set that aside. What I'm trying to get to is that in the New Testament, if you say God said, who said that? Was it the
You would
same
like
God
it-
from Old Testament, or was that Jesus?
It would be God. If they were
Yeah.
referring to God, it would be God.
Okay.
And Jesus would be referred to as a son or the Messiah.
So, okay. So then when we say, so maybe I've misunderstood this the whole time. So when people say that God is more chill in the New Testament, have I been misinterpreting that? And that is not Old Testament God. They're describing Jesus.
Yeah, they have to be because God's existence in the oh God, I'm probably gonna be wrong about this.
God's like
He's
not
not in the
as
New
actively
Testament,
present
really.
in the New Testament. Yeah. God is
Yeah.
talked about by Jesus is pretty much what it is, right?
Okay. So it's not necessarily that he's gotten more chill. It's that he's
that
like
he's not there.
gone to pick up a pack of smokes and never came
Yeah.
back.
God
Got it.
hired a PR guy, okay? And that's
Yeah.
what happens in the New Testament. Jesus is PR for God. Jesus comes down and
Yeah.
is like, hey, look, the God that you knew, like, yeah, he was angry, but now this God is chill. And if you just come hang out and accept him,
Okay.
everything's good.
Do you
Yeah.
think he went off and started a new family somewhere where he could be vengeful? In
On
like a
another
V2?
planet?
Yeah.
I like that he just like God just like pulls into a driveway in a Ford Taurus and like walks in and he's like,
Here's
"Hello,
what I was
family."
actually thinking about. I was like, okay, so this is like when we kicked Trump off Twitter, except Trump went and started his own social media platform. So like, that's how I got there.
Yeah, I
Okay,
think-
thank you. I guess I understand better now. Thanks, guys.
I mean, I really think that the actual like practical difference between the Old and the New Testament is that the Old Testament comes from a time when fear and punitiveness was the best way to enforce religion and rules, and the New Testament reflects that humans advanced enough that they realized that like, oh, we've organized our own governments, we actually have a society that isn't just man versus man, dog eat dog all the time. So a religion needs to be based around the idea that no, there are practical lessons about how to live your life, and those things need to be connected to the idea of something embracing you to comfort your fear rather than just reinforce it.
I was gonna say exactly to that point. Do you think that it also was influenced? And I have not done any religious studies, so I don't know if this is accurate. People getting to know other religions that are more like, if they got to know Buddhism, when did
There is a lot
Buddhism-
of theory about Jesus as a
when did
literary character being connected to Buddha directly. Like the
Oh,
idea
okay.
that Jesus might have been, to some extent, Buddha rewritten by people who had
which
met
that kind of makes sense.
Buddha, but wanted to translate him to a Middle Eastern
A different-
audience. We're not going
that
to call
makes
it. I don't want to scare you with this guy who lives way far away. So instead, I'm going to
Right.
take everything he said and filter it into a person who you could know.
That's the Jesus in the New Testament is all preaching love and like, I mean, yeah, it's like the positive aspects of religion and like all of the new prophets that come from all the religions end up being more positive. And I think that I don't know what the first one that came out was, but maybe that just influenced and was like, we just got to make sure people don't convert because then that makes us lose power.
Also true. I mean, I think that the other thing that's sort of important is religion has been sort of the cultural continuity for most of history, right? Like the same way that we would talk about Lost or Succession or whatever now, people were talking about all of this religious stuff because it was literally your appointment experience for the week was going to church on Sunday. This was the time when you got out and someone told you a story that wasn't
that makes way
just,
more sense.
Like
I was imagining like midnight releases for each of the books. Oh, of course, church. Duh.
I
But
like
yeah,
it
you're-
so much more.
But yeah, like people, like you're going to the theater. Like church is like that. Like the Catholic Church is all ceremony based, not because it's
Oh,
just
yeah.
stuffy. It's like this is entertainment. Like this is supposed to be an experience. You're going into this
Yeah.
vast performance space
Yeah.
to be talked to by people in costumes. While
Those costumes are
there's
so cozy.
there's smells and there's different lighting and there's all kinds of stuff. I mean, it's yeah. So when you have that, when you know that like, oh, this new like the new traveling theater troupe is this guy from Japan or from India or you know, now I'm blanking on where Buddha was from specifically. That makes me feel stupid. But you got
edit
this
it out,
person
fine.
who's like, well, this guy's company his troupe is traveling and they're drawing a lot of people. And this is what they're selling. Should we do some covers of what he's selling?
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, we should definitely do some covers. People are getting real tired of this brother killing brother nonsense. And yeah, every time that kids build a sandcastle collaboratively, we have to smash it because that's what God said to do. Like,
Honestly, I'm sick of being on Sandcastle Watch. It's taken up a lot of my beach going time. No, but this is not to talk more about cults, but I'm gonna. So Jim Jones decided when he was a kid, basically, that he like wanted to start quote unquote a religion. And one of the things he did was like go to all of the different churches that he could get access to like study how that community worked and specifically like what the triggers were to like bring people in. And so this conversation just made me think of that. Like, of course, obviously, of course, different religious leaders were paying attention to what was going on, like scoping out the competition in order to learn. Yeah, duh, of course.
We solved it.
Yeah, we absolutely did. So there's more begetting after Babel because we have to explain how we have all these different countries and all these different languages and all these different people. And
So
then
much begetting.
and then because God in like self-fulfilled his own prophecy that humans were going to be shitty, Sodom and Gomorrah happened, right? Because of course, if you, I guess, like there's really a big jump here that I don't like. But that seems to be what the book is saying, is that, well, if people couldn't collaborate anymore in the same language, some of them just fall right off the edge into horrible sin.
Wait a second. I have a question. I was reading, is Lot Noah's nephew?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah,
Who the fuck?
definitely related.
His sister was not on, his brother or sister was not on the boat.
Well, you know what? I bet that this is like weird incest lineage.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
So, like-
okay, never mind. Just kidding. I don't want to talk
Yeah.
about it. Ugh. We're about to get into a really gross story, so
Because
I'll just wait
part of
for
what's
that.
going on with Sodom
Yeah.
and Gomorrah is that everything gets very full soap opera again. You have guys marrying their sisters.
which is so weird. You think he would love it?
Yeah, like why is that a problem?
That's what he was waiting for. He was like, ugh. And he was like, this has become so predictable. I can't.
Oh,
How
he
do
was
we
like,
shake it
this
up?
is
How do we shake it up?
yeah. He was like, this is my worst season. I've got to like inject something crazy.
Yeah.
He's like,
Oh, we're
what's
jumping
going
the
on?"
shark.
God was sitting there with the pen and he was like, let's Google what's going to happen on Pornhub in 2023. Oh,
Yeah.
incest stuff. Great. Let's do it.
Wow, they love that.
It's really popular.
I feel like that might have been another self-fulfilling prophecy there. The Lord.
Then we get, I highlighted in my version, chapter 17:10 lays out that all males will be circumcised as a form of hazing to be in God's gang. Like if you want to actually
Oh.
follow God, it's coming off.
Was this like another pro tip?
Uh-huh.
Or
Anti-tip, really.
Big time anti-tip. The phrasing was different in what I read, and I didn't think that it didn't seem like it was hazing. The way it was phrased, and I'm sure that this is like words meant something different, like the connotations have just changed over time, but the way that I interpreted it was basically God was like, here is my gift to you. You get to cut off the tips of your wieners. How's that sound? How's that sound, buds? And I was like, wait. Say again?
Here's what I'm going to read 17:9 through 17:11 because this is what it says on my version. God said to Abraham, "As for you, you shall keep my covenant, you and your offspring after you throughout their generations. This is my covenant which you shall keep between me and you and your offspring after you. Every male among you shall be circumcised. You shall circumcise the flesh from your foreskins, and it shall be a sign of the covenant between you and me," which I read as this is the Nexium brand that you have to have to get into God's cult, right?
Yeah.
This is our covenant.
No, you're right. What has occurred here is
This said betwixt
I
in
didn't
our
know what
version, so that
covenant
could be part
meant.
of it.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe that was it too.
I feel like it's betwixt.
Thanks.
The King James says betwixt, and I feel like that gives it more.
Yeah, that's like a joint thing. Like this
Yeah.
is mutually beneficial.
Mm-hmm.
Not like no foreskins allowed on the front of my clubhouse.
Yeah. And then everybody gets there and God still has his, and he's like, well, it says no foreskins. I can have
I told you not to look at your dad's wiener. What'd I say about looking at dad's wiener?
God just reads like a mob boss during this section because it's just constantly like, I'm not really happy with what you're doing. You gotta prove your love to me. Prove your love to me. Get out there. You get out there.
Abraham.
And you come here with your foreskin on the day of my daughter's wedding.
The day of your daughter's / sister's / niece's wedding.
Is he Abram right now, or is he Abraham? He hasn't become Abraham. Is he Abram? Is he Abraham?
He turns Abraham around this time.
He
becomes
He's Abram and
Abraham.
becomes Abraham.
He gets the H in Egypt, I think.
Okay, so Abram was like, bro, if you're gonna kill those people, you have to like, if there are some good people there, can we chill?
It is
And then
such a long haggle.
Like, 50, 20, 10, and then it was like kept going down, and he's like, yeah, no, there was nothing in between if we can find 10 people, and it was like, fuck it, I'm gonna kill them all. I was like, did you even look? Did you even try? What's happening?
Well, I think what happened.
He was like, let me think. I'm omnipotent. I'm everywhere. Nah.
I don't see it, buddy.
No, what happened was the town came out and surrounded the house that Lot's family, like Abraham's relatives, Lot and his family, were in the house, and the angels show up, and then the whole town comes out, and they're like, hey, yo, let us fuck those angels. And God's like, that's more than the bargain. Like, we can't do this. This city's hopeless.
So the angels come and they save Lot.
Yeah.
And then Lot's daughters get Lot drunk on purpose.
Yeah.
To fuck him so they can have kids.
And they make it seem like it's a nice thing that they're doing for him. They were like, we have to carry on his seed. I was like, could you not?
But do you?
This is gross. Please don't. He doesn't need to. We can end the line here.
Yeah,
I think
you don't
we
have
should.
to.
I think
we
should
should
be the end of it.
Again, misogyny, yes? Like,
oh, because the lady isn't that part.
No, the mom turned into salt.
No, but the two daughters could have carried on the line because they are still half of whatever child they have.
well,
You
yeah,
know
it's
that's not how it works.
It's also misogynistic to just assume that, like, oh, well, this man is so important. We have to continue him, right?
Well, but that was part of the covenant, right? What's Lot's relationship to Abraham?
Look, I didn't read any description about Lot's foreskin,
His
so
nephew.
I don't know.
Wait, no. Abraham?
Because
Abraham.
No, yeah, he's Abraham's kid.
He's Abraham's kid. Okay, then that's part of the covenant. Part of the covenant that God made.
They would go on forever. Is
fruitful and multiply, etc.
Yes.
So,
ew.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah. No, it's not good.
Like, so there had, like, no.
I don't know, man. There's like a lot of like, there's a lot. I guess my question is, there's a lot. There is a lot.
There's one lot, and then
is this where that word comes from?
Maybe somebody was reading the story and they were like, this is a lot.
This is a
And
lot.
they're like, I'm gonna have to start using that from now on.
Oh God. Everybody was like, damn, that
much.
makes sense.
And they were like, what does it mean? Too much.
Too much.
So then our old buddy God gets
Yeah.
bored. He gets like itchy feet again and decides to test Abraham further by being like, hey, you gotta kill your son. You gotta kill Isaac for me.
Fuck
kill
that
him.
kid.
Kill him.
No, don't fuck that kid. Sorry. You'll do
You're
it
talking
actually.
biblically, you gotta be careful.
Which also notably like foreshadows that God will test Job later on as well. And in similarly petty circumstances. Although Job is at least interesting because he's actually betting with Satan rather than just doing it for
That's
his
true.
own shits and gigs.
This was one of the stories that I like
I'm gonna use
wrote a paper on. I wrote a paper on Job in college just to talk about how awful I thought that story was. And I was like, this is all bad. This is bad. This is what bad is if I had to. And then when I read about Abraham and Isaac, I was like, and then I was talking to Ryan about it and I was like, this is what happened. And then we were talking about, if that was like a TV show that happened, like the relationship between them afterwards. Like Isaac just being like, God, fuck you, Dad. Like
that's gonna be
I'm
real
done with
strained.
You. Do you remember the time that you tried to sacrifice me? I don't need to talk to you anymore.
Is this like a Papa Winchester, Sam Winchester situation?
Did you try to sacrifice Sam?
Well, I'm trying to remember. I'm just trying to.
What?
There's a lot of
there are
Judeo-Christian themes in
that's
Supernatural.
Fair. But they have they really filled out what the Nephilim was and Leviathan and some of the things.
Leviathan in the Bible?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Do they suck as bad as that season of Supernatural? I'll take my answer offline.
I mean, out of 36 season, one's bound to be bad. He tests, then we get more begetting.
This is where I started skimming. I have a question.
Yeah.
Does God come and stay Abraham's hand, or does he send like an angel who shows up and stops that sacrifice?
Oh, I thought it was God.
Yeah, I think it's
Is it God? Okay, thanks.
And he's like, but there's a ram. Just do the ram. You can use the ram.
I remember the diversion.
Why do you need to have something sacrificed to you? Like, what is that? What is that? Come on, guys.
Tradition.
Yeah.
Tradition.
No, I think it's literally just that it goes back to we don't understand why the sun comes up and sets every day, and we don't understand why it rains. So all we can do is say causation and correlation are the same thing. So it's like, well, we killed a ram and we got a good crop. So every time we need a good crop, we better kill a ram. Like that's really all we've got to go off of.
Yeah, I think that's got to be it.
There's a lot more begetting. We jumped forward to Jacob, and Jacob, who in the version I read at age 77, finally leaves home to find a wife and a job.
Well, they were living for hundreds of years at this point.
Well, I know, but I was like, and people are mad at millennials for living at home in their 20s?
During Noah, didn't God say, I'm not going to let you guys live that long anymore?
No, Abraham makes it to like 900, I think.
Yeah, but during Noah, he was like, I'm not going to let you guys live as long. And then people kept living long.
Oh, do you think Noah was going to live like way longer? Yeah, like when he was threatening Adam.
No, Noah lived a long time. It didn't make any sense. That's why it was confusing.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
But we missed Handmaid's Tale. Did we just skim over that really quick?
Oh, yeah. In here?
Yeah. Talk about it, because I didn't read it very well.
Because there is is it Abraham's wife? No. Is it? Who?
I think it is.
Isaac? Someone's wife. No. Helga? No.
Yeah. Hagar?
Hagar is the handmaid. The handmaid.
Yeah, she is. Yeah.
But there was someone who can't bear a child, and they were like,
there are three someones.
Here is you can have the handmaid. And then the girl was very mean to the handmaid because she was like, I do not like what's going on here.
Well, wait, I thought that was
Handmaid's Tale. It is the Handmaid's Tale.
It is. What I thought was super interesting about that story, that was Abraham and his wife, whose name I don't know. It started with an R, but all of the women's names started with an R. So I don't know.
Was it Rachel?
Could have been.
Okay.
One of them is Rachel, and then there's also a Rebecca, and then there's Thirdo. All of which are barren. And then what was interesting was Abraham's wife initially was like, oh, God promised you fruitful, multiply, etc. I'm too old. I can't have kids, so you can have my handmaid. And then they had a kid. I guess that was Isaac. And then, yes, it was Isaac. And then later, God was like, hey, yo, Abraham's wife, I'm going to hook it up. And got her pregnant. Or allowed her to become pregnant, and then that kid was named Seth, and I only remember that because
like the fuck is this?
Seth?
Is he in the OC? Is that how?
Cowabunga, dude! Like, what are you doing here? And then once she had that kid, that's when she was like, "Man, fuck that handmaid," and like chased him out of town. like, oh, okay, you're on board when you can use her. Yeah, that's literally Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah,
I think it was Sarah.
Sarah? Oh,
Yeah.
fine.
so it was because it was Abraham and Sariah or something.
Yeah,
Mhm,
yeah.
mhm.
Like she had a different name, and then they became Abraham and
Sarai.
Sarah.
Yeah, you crushed it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that was really gross. We
Yeah.
had also talked on our other podcast about Bigfoot, and in the book about Bigfoot and creation. And they named all of the Bigfoot family biblical names, and I got them mixed up with this family, but it is the children of
It's the
this
same.
family.
Yeah. It's
My bad. Whoops. It was Rachel and Jacob, and Leah. So they talk
And
about Leah
Leah.
having the baby. So he has two ladies, Rachel and Leah are his two ladies, but then he also has a bunch of babies with handmaids, but they don't name the handmaids.
many. Yeah. Well, why
That's
would you?
gross.
You know?
Yeah. No, this is the past yet the future. I don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah,
I don't know, man.
Jacob spends 14 years courting Rachel,
Yeah.
starting at age 77. So he's 81 when they
And
finally
also-
get married.
Babies
they give
having
him
babies.
Leah like immediately. They were like, you can have Leah, but you're gonna have to work a little bit harder for Rachel.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
take them both.
Work a little bit
Oh my
harder.
God. Sorry. That's another thing I wanted to talk about with Lot. When those angels were like, hey, yo, give us those visitors. We want to know them. He was like, no. How about you take my daughters instead? You can do
Right?
anything you like with them. Man,
Yeah.
this fucking sucks.
I mean, women are always possessions. in
Property.
this. Yeah.
They're just ornaments.
Jacob and Rachel have 12 kids.
Yep. Just casual.
All of those kids.
Wait.
And counting. 12 kids and counting.
13.
kids and
It was
counting.
12 boys, 1 girl. Right?
Maybe so. I only really clocked the whole Joseph issue that comes up next.
Yeah, the Joseph issue.
Which is that everybody gets jealous of Joseph, so they sell him into slavery.
Well,
And he
that
gets a
Technicolor
dream
Dreamcoat was...
Yeah.
Which I didn't realize how closely... Well, hold on. So in the musical, Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat, Jesus and Judas are there as well. What's
That's
the
a-
timeline on this?
That
Like,
happens
is
later.
that wrong?
Yeah.
But
But
that's
it's this
wrong, 'cause
Joseph.
That's super wrong.
This is
Or is
this
Joseph living
preceding
hundreds of
Exodus, so
years?
Moses hasn't been born yet.
Yeah.
But these people are living thousands of years. So, like, how long between the testaments? Is this not Joseph with his coat? This is Joseph with his coat.
yeah, Technicolor.
Yeah, I think
Dreamcoat.
this is Coat Joseph, but I don't think it's Jesus' dad Joseph.
Mhm.
Then we have a very long
sweet.
section that is just about Joseph rising to power in Egypt.
So
Killing it.
boring.
Wasn't he like, there's gonna be a famine, and then Pharaoh was like, "Fuck it, I'm out.
Oh, yeah.
Is that what happened? Isn't that how he came to power? Am I making that up?
No, I think that's right because he was like using Joseph. He was like a fortune teller, right?
Yeah.
He could
Yeah.
like,
He interpreted dreams.
yeah.
It's
tomato,
basically
tomato.
the plot to Idiocracy, where Joseph is Luke Wilson. Pharaoh just needs
Trust
somebody
you.
to tell him to stop putting Brondo on the crops. And that's really what goes on.
But it has the electrolytes that plants great.
Then Jacob literally wrestles with God and man and gets renamed Israel.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
impressive.
That is impressive.
It reads like he literally wrestles.
There are a lot of paintings depicting this as well. where they
Oh,
are
that's right.
fighting. There's like thunderstorms behind them.
And Joseph is naked in them a lot of the time.
Which is weird because he should
It's
be
weird.
ashamed.
He should be ashamed.
Mhm.
Somebody ate an apple at some point.
Everybody looking at it. You're going to hell.
Yeah. Well, no, I do think he's usually like wiener away from camera.
Yeah,
So I think we're all okay.
Okay.
So
He's doing the comic book cover, lady cover,
Yeah.
where it's just all butt.
yeah. Joke's on you, God. We love butts.
The butt is the penis in the back.
I don't know. I think maybe the traps are the penis of the back. I don't know. I don't even know. I'm not even confident traps are in the back. I was just doing a bit.
And then the last note that I have on this is that Joseph then on his deathbed asks his kids to take his bones with them when they inevitably leave Egypt on the exodus that will come very soon.
I'm just so glad it. So, this is why I think God is a TV producer, because that's a cliffhanger.
You're
if
right.
I've heard one.
Yeah,
You're right. And foreshadowing, like that's
Yeah.
pretty heavy-handed.
it's real legit
mhm.
foreshadowing, because then you're like, hey, season 2, a
Yeah.
baby's born
Wonder
and
what's gonna
found
happen.
among the reeds.
And then Val Kilmer voices
Oh, that's
God
right.
in that movie, Prince of Egypt. He's the voice of God. You're welcome, everyone.
Hell yeah! All right.
Wait, is that the musical? Did we rent that from Blockbuster once?
It's likely.
Okay.
It's an animated.
It is
It's
for
animated.
sure true. It's for
animated
sure a
musical
fact.
thing.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's Prince of Egypt.
Yeah.
And
That's what
Val
I said.
Kilmer voices. Oh, is it?
God.
But Val Kilmer also is in like a stage play of, I thought, Moses.
The Ten Commandments.
Oh yeah, probably that.
Yeah. What a
What a ride.
Yeah, what a
There
ride,
was
right?
something else earlier on that I was like, we should talk about this. I've ruined it by saying that. Now I'm not going to remember it at all. Hold on. Let me look at my notes.
If you think about it, we can come back. But for right now, how about the Mouthguard Report?
Let's do the Mouthguard Report.
The Mouthguard Report. Open wide.
Yeah!
I went to the dentist and
Yeah!
Yeah. How did that go?
Not good, you guys. Not good. So I went in for just a cleaning and they were like, you have a cavity.
No.
So you're going to have to come back for that. So I went back and got that filled and they took so many photos of my teeth. And I told them about the Mouthguard Report. I was like, I need these photos. Will you please email them to me? Because I know a guy who would love to see them. So I'm hopeful that they will get those to me eventually. But my dentist also was like, you do a Mouthguard Report on your podcast? And I was like, yeah, Dr. Danny D. That's not his name. Dr. D. What do I call him? I call him Dr. Allman. I don't have like a cutie name for him. But he was like, well, if you ever need a guest. So do y'all want my
First
dentist to come on and talk
our
about
podcast.
teeth?
Amazing. Yes. Absolutely.
But more practically, I took in. Do you guys remember how I like
I get free
immediately
advice?
chewed through my last
Yes.
mouth guard? It like
Yeah.
crumbled in the back. First of all, another piece came off, and I'm pretty sure I ate it because I
no.
cannot find it. Two, I
Just
took
check
it.
your poop in the mornings,
Well, I mean,
like a dog.
it'll pass or it won't. Whatever. So I brought that in and was like, help, please fix. And they were like, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to like get you a new one made that is reinforced in the middle with metal.
Oh, shit.
Ooh.
Rugga-gung-gung, rugga-gung-gung,
Is it
rugga-gung-gung.
Is it reinforced? Like when you say in the middle, are you talking about like the bridge, or are you talking about like
No,
full
like it's
on
like
your teeth?
layers. It's like striations and sediment. It's gonna be like
Ooh.
base layer of these are like 3D printed.
They're
So they
throwing like
3D
rebar into your thing.
Basically, yeah.
Oh my god, you're gonna have to show us when you get them.
I will. I'm hopeful that I can't see it, but they were like, once you get this, you have to bring it in every time you come to the dentist, so we can make sure that you aren't like chewing through and making contact with the metal. So now I'm gonna have a mouth guard I'm scared of.
Yeah, I was gonna say that immediately made me be like, because you have
I know.
fillings, but like, do the fillings now? Because you've had times whenever, like, if you eat aluminum or eat something metal, you're
Yeah.
no, yeah, your
No, I
fillings
know what you're
feel
talking
terrible.
about, but like I don't have any of the silver fillings.
Okay,
And I know it does it with those, but I don't know if
they
it does
do
it with these.
normal.
But I think
Yeah,
that
I
it
hope not.
must because I have a visceral
Oh.
memory of that feeling.
Oh,
So
it's like
yeah,
it
so
just
now I'm
hits
just
your
scared.
nerve. It's awful.
Yeah. It's like lightning in your mouth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's the
exactly.
other thing. This dentist, you can cut this
Put
if we're
lightning in
getting
your
if
mouth.
this isn't interesting. Yes, it's lightning in my mouth. They don't when they do a filling, they don't like numb you and use the drill to like excavate. They use a fucking laser. So no
Ooh.
numbing.
Whoa.
They laser
Ew.
you.
I don't
No,
know. if
it's
I like
weird.
that.
I
Nice.
don't know if I do either. I mean, but I don't like the drilling. So they've used this on me before and I don't know why I didn't remember. And once we got in there, I remembered like, oh, right, I really should have taken like a high dose of my anti-anxiety medication
Oh.
because the whole time I was just like gripping my legs. I don't even know if it hurts or if I'm just anticipating pain the
Yeah.
whole time. I was just like sweaty and clammy and like nails into the side of my leg. Like,
I think it
Mental
doesn't
work.
help that the dentist stands there and goes pew 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 the whole time.
no,
you're
that
doing
does
it,
help.
too.
That's my favorite part.
Oh, good.
Oh,
He was also quoting Super Troopers the whole time.
No.
That's not a bit. He just was actually doing that.
wait, did you tell him about the Mouthguard Report before or after this?
After.
Oh, I just thought he was like not interviewing. That's not the word. Auditioning.
No. No, he was quoting Super Troopers and you mentioned it earlier, Office Space. Those are his two favorite
What?
movies. That was
Interesting.
fun.
Amazing.
Shout out Dr.
Danny
Dr.
D?
Daniel Allman.
Oh, Almond.
I was still trying to
Danny
pick
A?
like a Danny A. Dr. Dan
What's
is
another
what the
thing to
hygienists
say
call him, and I don't like
almond?
that.
How do you say other?
Almond
All I can think
Joy.
is Waldorf salad, but that's walnut.
Ooh, almond joy. That's a good
Oh,
one.
Almond
We
Joy.
can call him
Mhm.
almond joy.
I don't really want to call him anything that's going to go
Oh.
in my mouth. We're already doing that.
That's fair.
All right.
Too bad it's an almond. It's too bad it's almond.
Okay, that's all I have.
Great.
Great talk. I am going to try to find a new dentist and orthodontist this upcoming week. And I'm not looking forward to it after the possible teeth cracking at Zion and
What?
Yeah,
We
what
talked about it.
happened?
Because no, that's when we found out about Nate eating a bolt.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you're right.
That's right.
Yeah.
Never mind.
I just
Okay.
ate a rock.
Oh my god, I blocked it out because
Yeah,
it's
no,
too stressful.
We're all just falling apart, honestly. So I'm really worried about going to the dentist and having them tell me, because every now and then that part of my tooth hurts. It doesn't always hurt, so sometimes I'm like, maybe it's fine.
Yeah,
And it's definitely not. And
it's not going to be fine.
It's not, and I'm not looking forward to it, but I will find out in the next few weeks. So I will hopefully have a lot of information to report back next time.
Find a laser dentist.
I don't know if I want to. You did not say good things about it. You said,
I said
was
it's better than the
terrifying.
drill.
okay,
Yeah.
but I get numbed with the drill, and sometimes I can get the gas. So
Oh, that was the other thing. They finally were like, you have to have your wisdom teeth taken out. And
okay, can we plan it at the same time? Sorry.
I'm not doing it.
Oh,
I'm not
no.
doing it. I went to the what do you call him? The surgeon.
Yeah, oral
Yeah.
surgeon.
Oral surgeon. And I was like, I'm going to do it. We're finally doing it. And he was running down the treatment plan. And I'd say 10% into his explanation, I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that. So, and my insurance did not cover that. So I just
Oh,
paid
shit,
$200 to waste both our time.
That's fair.
Oh,
I'm gonna
man.
have to get mine out because they're impacted. One of them's impacted, but then
Not
I
doing
might
it.
leave the others.
Keeping them.
Well, if you decide to take them out, I will join you in the
Okay.
process. Otherwise, I'm just gonna get out this guy. Just
Yeah.
Something to think about. Maybe the show can buy you some sort of Garfield themed wisdom tooth gift.
beautiful.
You know?
Nate, do you not have your wisdom teeth? Have we?
I
Talked
don't.
About this?
Yeah, we talked about it because I had 6 removed. I had 4 plus 2 little half teeth because I had extra.
We thought we were gonna. I was hoping we could plan triple
Yeah.
surgeries.
Oh man.
We have to find something else, you guys. Appendicitis at the same time. Let's do
Oh,
it.
fun!
Yeah.
So when I was in church, let's loop it back around. When I was in church, we had accountability buddies who kept us, straight with Christ and reading our Bibles and making sure that we were on track. Accountability buddies for surgeries,
Yeah.
I think, is what
There you
we're
go. Yeah.
trying to bring together now. And
Yeah.
it's just another form of community, which we all love.
Oh, we love it.
But God hates it.
We
and
love
he's going to
it.
cast this podcast
That's
out.
true.
Smite me, motherfucker.
What if no one downloads this? What if there's some weird thing that happens and this can't be downloaded by anyone?
Yeah.
Then we can do a second conspiracy theory episode about it.
Right.
Nate, keep us on track.
That was the Mouthguard Report.
The Mouthguard Report. Open wide.
Do you all want to play a game? I think you do.
Always.
In this game, I'm God, and I'm punishing you.
I don't want to play anymore.
We're going to play I See What You Did There.
Okay.
So this is all going to be Bible themed, God
Chelsea's
themed,
gonna
hoped.
and
crush.
Genesis.
That's why we're
themed.
together in this.
I know, but like you're gonna carry this, dude.
I don't like that they're Genesis. Wait, like the band?
We'll see. You're going to have to see what the
Oh,
questions
that's in
are.
You
okay.
know that's in here. Okay.
Okay.
Question number 1, quote, Sega Genesis does what blank, end quote, when compared to their chief competition in the early 90s. And this is a 1991 movie about an elderly nanny who dies, starring Christina Applegate.
Okay. That second part is
Don't tell mom the babysitter's dead.
yeah, thank you.
You got it. Uh-huh.
Nintendo, don't tell mom the babysitter's dead.
You see what I did there?
Hey, good job.
I always get the first one, but I'm going to go downhill from here.
Genesis does what Nintendo don't.
Oh.
With Sega's tagline, and don't tell mom the babysitter's dead. All right, number 2. In this Genesis hit song, quote, she reaches in and grabs right hold of your heart with unseen handling. And this is a bygone CBS show about heavenly workers played by Roma Downey and Della Reese.
Could you repeat the entire thing again?
Yeah, of course. In this Genesis hit song, quote, she reaches in, grabs right hold of your heart with unseen handling. Big hint there, unseen handling. And this is a bygone CBS show about heavenly workers played by Roma Downey and Della Reese.
Something guardian angels? Something like that. No.
Angel is part of this,
Angels in the
yes.
outfield. No.
Unseen handling is a clue.
Unseen handling is a clue. Think synonyms for unseen handling.
Invisible.
Yeah, I'm trying
Okay.
to.
You said invisible. That's in there.
Invisible workings. But you said it's like what did you say it was? Heavenly workers?
Heavenly workers, yeah. Who would work
Oh.
in heaven?
I mean angels
Sure. Okay.
in the outfield.
Is it possible that you both grew up in a time when this wasn't on? Because it seemed
Yeah,
like it was
it's
on TV.
I have
completely
no
possible.
idea what this is.
Forever.
I don't know what this is.
Okay, hold on.
I feel like I can almost remember
Can you? Oh God.
like a scene from it. It was like guardian angels popping in.
Oh, okay.
to-
Yeah. They would
Oh.
come down.
okay.
They would hang out with somebody who was having a hard time. It was a
Oh,
lot
oh.
like Fantasy Island /
Can you give any other
Quantum
any other
Leap.
hints?
Quantum Leap. You listed the actors. I don't know who they are.
You've already said
either.
invisible.
Yeah.
You already have angel. So you're literally missing a verb
I know.
and 2 prepositions.
That's so many things.
What sense would you use to handle something?
Oh, hands? Touch.
Touched by an angel. Sorry.
Yeah, okay. Put it all together.
Oh.
Invisible touched by an angel. Wait.
Yeah.
Invisible touched by an angel?
Invisible touched by an angel. Yeah. Invisible touch is the Genesis song.
Okay. And then by an angel.
And
okay,
touched by an angel is the name of the
Sorry, I
song.
didn't mean to yell. That's going to be really hard to edit. I apologize. I can say it emphatically so you can edit it over. Invisible touched by an angel. Instead of me screaming into the mic.
I'm leaving
I'm
all
sorry.
of this in. It's all staying.
Definitely thought that was... I always thought Touched by an Angel was a soap opera that did not actually have to do with angels. So,
like Guiding Light, which seems like it would be something religious, but it
Oh,
wasn't.
yeah.
It was just about a lighthouse and people who fucked in the lighthouse.
you know what? I bet that is exactly what happened in my brain, is that those two things
Those
just
same thing.
merged into one.
All right. Number three. This is perhaps the most well-known book by the French philosopher Marquis de Sade. Add on this Guardians of the Galaxy character portrayed on film by Zoe Saldana.
I know Gamora, and I know a movie, but I don't think I'm correct. Marquis de Sade. It's not 120 Days of Sodom and Gomorrah, is it?
It is. You see what I did
Oh.
there. Very good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You saw exactly what I was doing.
Good job.
I got that on when Netflix was a DVD. There is a movie of it.
Yeah. 120 Days of Sodom and Gomorrah.
I think that you got that during our Let's Watch the
I
Most
did.
Fucked Up Shit phase, because I didn't watch it, but I remember you watching it.
No. Gross. Gross.
Wow, that was fast. Okay, number 4. This is the last one. This 1952 novel by Steinbeck is considered his magnum opus. And boy howdy, if I get a hold of all of your teeth, you're going to need a set of these.
I feel like I was going to get there,
Right?
and then I got so
I was
upset by
gonna-
the teeth
oh.
thing.
Piece of edentures.
East
There you
of
go.
edentures. You see what
Okay,
I
I was
did
like
there.
grapes of wrath dentures. I was struggling there for a second.
Yeah, east of edentures.
Yeah,
You see what
no.
I did there?
Chelsea, I didn't do anything.
It's like internet dentures. Like instead of email,
I just want you
it's
to
e-dentures.
reflect.
I know that made me. Well, it was a Bible one, Kelly. You know that I was gonna do okay at it and not okay at anything else.
I just want you to like revel in the W. You crushed that. Good job.
Thank you. The indoctrination has done well in me. Thank you.
And that was I See What You Did There. So, Chelsea, did you remember the thing you wanted to talk about?
Fuck no, absolutely not. I have no idea what it was.
Right. Okay. Well, then, should we talk Debs?
Oh boy. Yeah, how you rank this one?
I mean,
How-
I would say 5 Debs because I love reality TV, and the more drama, the better. And this was like quick and in your face, and that's what we're all asking for in this day and age.
It is inarguably debaucherous. And that is
Mhm.
the 5 out of 5 marker on our scale. It is debaucherous. This is a debaucherous book.
I feel like the only thing that would make me bring it down is the lineage. The entire chapters that were just
The-
names having
Oh.
begetting.
Oh, it's the
people,
begats you've got a
having the
problem
children.
with, not the incest.
Yeah, I can't.
Though
with
here's a
number-
way to
I mean,
frame
Got it.
that, okay? If this is a reality TV thing, the credits have to roll eventually. And it's boring.
That's
And it's
true.
just a list of names, but it tells you who's bringing you the story and who's coming up next.
That's true.
And it
That
also
is very
brings
true.
you drama, right? You're like, oh shit, did you see those begats? Jacob is like, he goes all the way back to, whoever.
Noah,
Jacob Sr.,
Yeah.
Seth. No.
Yeah, Seth. Yeah.
Adam. They
What are
all go
other-
back to Adam.
What are other surfer names? What if everyone was just surfer names in the Bible? Spiculi. Wait, no. that's
Chad.
different. Chad.
Bodie.
Kyle. Wait, is that a biblical name?
There's going to be like 10 Kyles. Yeah, probably. If Seth is, anything is possible. Oh, God. He just loves hanging on the beach. He loves a bonfire.
like he was born in the sand.
He loves his longboard. I don't know. I don't know. The trouble is, I think of the word debaucherous as like fun and good, and I don't think of Genesis that way.
That's fair. That is fair.
Yeah.
What is for? What is for?
Debonair is 4. It's not debonair.
No, it's not that.
Yeah.
I think it could be debatable. That's 3.
That's 100%
That feels right.
what it is.
It kind of hits me in one territory because 1 is a debacle, and this is nothing but a debacle,
Yeah.
right?
True.
Like,
yeah. So this makes it like a feel-good story. This feels like a Michael Scott, God's Michael Scott or something. Like he's just like a manager that's trying real hard but just fucks up every time.
No,
I
it
don't
makes
think
sense.
he's trying real hard. He's like mean. He's full of rage and malice and contempt.
well, but it makes
That's
sense because
fair.
like Michael Scott similarly is established early in The Office as a competent salesman, right? Like they show that Michael Scott knows how to sell paper, but then they show that he is incapable of doing anything else well.
He can't manage
And
people.
this book says God can create an entire univerce and all the
You're
animals,
right.
and then that's it. He's
He's
literally
like,
no
"Ugh,
social
maybe I didn't do
skills,
that."
cannot manage humans.
Shows up all the time and is like, "What just happened? What happened here? Who allowed this?"
Literally you. I just feel like what I'm coming up against is how do you separate the art from the artist? Like I don't know, you guys. I guess I'm I don't know. I guess I'm going 3 but just because our categorization is debatable.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's the only way for me to feel about this.
So I went 5. Nate went 1, and you went 3.
Yeah, I'm going 1.
Oh.
Yeah,
This is
So
pretty
3.
good. Is it 3? Is it 3?
I'm going 1 mainly because of the resonant damage that this does to all of human society.
Okay,
if
if we want
anybody
that.
believes this is a thing, right?
It's a
See, and
negative.
I was
If we could do a
directly
negative, we would.
torn between your two positions. I was like, boy, this did a lot of harm. But if we want to look at it like reality TV, it does make
It's
for a good
interesting.
season.
Mhm.
And one
I
can
will
easily
watch next
argue
season.
that you can argue that reality
Although-
TV does harm, but it's still
Wait.
entertaining.
That's
And that's
true.
what this is
We
doing.
did do the first reality TV show. First
Hold
episode.
on. I just reflected for a moment on my favorite types of reality TV, and it's fucking the Great British Bake Off. No
Oh,
interpersonal drama.
absolutely not.
Did I just talk myself in
I
to
think
go
you
into
did.
a 1?
I think you did.
Oh no. Yeah, I think I got. No, I'll stick with 3. I'll stick with 3 for the easy math. 3.
Thank you. I was like, okay, we did 7 divided by 3. How do we? It's gonna be a little bit over a 2, which is 1, 2, 3, 3, maybe.
Jeez, we're begetting in here again with all these numbers.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, there's a whole book called Numbers. That's what happens next.
Oh no.
Is that just about begetting? Is that a book about
Is
seed?
it?
No, I think it's
Is anybody like my favorite Bible verse? I was gonna say Bible quote is Numbers. Oh, Numbers has Moses. Lots of Moses in
oh,
there.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Huh.
There are 10 numbers. They all correspond to commandments. Don't do them.
Boring.
But the Count from Sesame Street shows up, so that's cool.
Damn, he's in the Bible.
Oh yeah, come on. He's a
Cool.
vampire. He's been around forever.
Cool.
But what I do want to say is, like, I think that there is really meaningful literary value to this. And, you know, it is weird philosophically that this exists. Isn't it just, I mean, and if you're listening to this, just take a moment with me, and this is not judgmental, but step away from any notion you have about what the Bible is and just reflect on the fact that this text that says these very weird things is the foundation of belief for millions upon millions of people. And so foundational to their belief is it that they would not question
Nope.
what is in here as being valuable in ways that, like, Greek mythology is considered not valuable, or anime for that matter. Like,
Oh.
post World War II Japanese anime has similar thematic stuff because a huge tragedy happens and people have to rebuild
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But no one's walking around going like, well, we need a religion based off of Akira. Now, I actually
Don't we?
some people are, and I might be
Like,
one
we're
of
like,
them. But but the point is, like, it's interesting to just take a moment to think about why certain texts in our reality are exemplary and held to have meaning over others solely because of their historicalness or how tied up they are into an institution.
I'm just repeating in my head, don't start a new topic, don't start a new topic, don't start a new topic.
On our next episode, we will either be discussing, because there's a chance that our guest will not, he has not responded to me officially, so I don't know for certain. We're either going to be talking about the first F-bomb ever on American television, or we're going to talk about the first skyscraper. And either one of those, it's going to be a tall order.
I
love that this is the theme now. Is
yourself
that
into laughing.
you fake laugh yourself into a genuine laugh with me, and I love that.
Oh, you just gotta wait it out.
Listeners, if you like this podcast,
No, like, really, I've got the giggles now. Okay, go on.
if you like this podcast, subscribe, rate, and review us wherever you listen. Leave us a 5-star review at Apple Podcasts, and tell us what part of Genesis is your favorite. Is it Lot and his daughters? Is it Adam and Eve? Is it Phil Collins or Peter Gabriel? What's your favorite part?
Gabriel.
Reach out to us if you would like to suggest a topic or theme, and maybe you'd even like to guest. You can reach out to us at debutbuddies@gmail.com. We also still need to find a video game that Kelly will play, so if anybody wants to email us about that, you can do that too.
Keep trying.
If you like the music we feature in this episode, it's all been composed by Michael J. O'Connor. You can check out his stuff at michaeljoconnor.bandcamp.com. He also is part of a brand new band. The man just keeps making bands. So this is very exciting stuff. I don't know the name of the band yet, but he teased it on the internet. So if you look for his social media, you can get a little taste of that band action.
Hopefully in
Hell
a future
yeah.
episode, he'll be able to tell us so much more about this new band.
I've been thinking
Or on
about
the
asking him to write us a Mouthguard Report theme that has more Garfield stuff in it. I'll see if he will. My dream is that this show evolves to the point where eventually we're just playing
It's
like
just
gibberish
Garfield.
music, and it's like,
I mean, the Mouthguard Report, the jingle for it is my favorite. So I
Yeah.
don't even know if I want it to ever change.
I mean, maybe all he's gonna add to it is like, I hate Mondays. Who knows?
Oh, that would be beautiful. Okay,
I don't know.
That's
It could be
fair.
real
I like
simple.
that. We could just clip that, add it into it at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could do this. I'll do this.
We should all do our own version. I'll merge them together into a sick harmony, and then we can just drop that in at the end.
And if you miss me and Chelsea before this next episode comes out, we are also over on Never Show the Monster, our podcast about horror movies. Almost forgot what it was about for a second. I almost said cryptids. That's been
Almost
a recent
became a
series.
cryptid. Almost became a cryptid podcast.
So
We'll
come
be
say
talking about,
hey,
like,
talk about
aliens.
horror.
We'll be talking about aliens at that around this time, right?
Yeah.
No, maybe not. I
Yep,
don't know.
aliens. Yeah.
Okay.
I was gonna say
Where
this,
are we in it?
like, Genesis also kind of a candidate for Never Show the Monster, because
Just
very few people
wait.
see what God looks like, but God keeps fucking with everybody. It's kind of great.
That's true. That's true. I meant to ask you guys what you thought God looks like. We can't do it. We can't
What
do
if
it in
he
the
was one
outro.
of us?
Slob
Just a
like one of
slob
us.
like one of us.
Yeah.
Just a stranger on the bus trying to make his way home.
Yep. Bye, buddy.
Bye, buddy.
Bye, buddies.